Hi, and welcome to the Find Focus podcast. Today we will talk about how to overcome porn addiction with Hunter Otis. Hello, Hunter, and welcome to the podcast.
Hey, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what's your background with porn addiction?
Sure. So I confess I was horribly addicted to pornography myself, and addiction is not something that you just throw away and say, hey, it's over. It's something you have to be cautious of and wary of for the rest of your life. Otherwise, you can really slip back into those patterns. So it's something that I protect myself from on a daily basis. But I had to really figure out how to overcome it because it was destroying my relationship with my wife, severing our connection, and also creating a kind of a secret second identity for myself, really, where it's like I was one person out here for everyone to see and another person behind closed doors, and it was torture. So it wasn't just about my wife didn't like it. It was literally I couldn't get anything done. I couldn't do anything because I was getting so caught up in this thing. So so kind of the background there is first had to figure out how to break that cycle for me personally. Then my wife has a private therapy practice, and so we worked together with that, trying to help current clients that she had that were dealing with pornography addiction as well, and sexual addiction. So sometimes escalates beyond that. And then we decided to jump in full time together, her as a marriage and family therapist and now a certified sexual addiction therapist. And then myself just as a mentor coach, and create a program to help people get through what we went through a lot faster than we did. So instead of taking 5 years, to hopefully get them there in a matter of months, where we just teaching them all the things that we wish we had known and giving them all the skills we wish we had. So that's what we do full time now. So
yeah, awesome. Do you remember how you got started, and when have you noticed that this was actually a real problem for you?
Sure. So I think I knew deep down, even as a teenager, I mean, even 10, 15 years ago, that it was an issue for me, but I was so ashamed of it that I couldn't even accept that or come forward and think about getting help. But then it was probably after I got married, I thought I had this illusion in my head that, oh, once I'm married, it won't be an issue because I'll be married, I'll be fine, I'll be able to be intimate with my partner, and I won't need porn anymore. But what I discovered is that it got worse. And I was terribly disturbed by that. Then, started having kids and stuff. And I'm like, my gosh, this is not the type of example that I want to be. Especially now I have 3 daughters. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that hit home for me. It's like, I can't be doing this. That's just not right. And it makes me feel terrible. So something's got to give here. But I think it was probably right at the beginning of my marriage that I knew it was an issue. I still didn't realize I had an addiction. Okay. Or at least consciously. So it was as I started getting into professional work and realizing that my energy and focus was being robbed from me. I couldn't get as much done as I wanted to, always spinning my wheels or sabotaging myself, that I was like, all right, this can't happen anymore. And then of course, almost losing my relationship kind of had a big, played a big factor in that too. Once my wife kind of discovered all the lying that I was doing and the secret life, I mean, as you can imagine, it's a spouse that's horribly devastating to feel like you don't know your spouse anymore.
I can imagine. What is the first step that someone need to take to overcome porn addiction?
Sure. I mean, as people talk about in like Alcoholics Anonymous and 12-step groups and stuff, it's really truly acceptance that, dang, I have an issue and I need help. Accepting the reality that if you have an addiction, if it's something that if you've had the narrative in your head over and over and over again, this is the last time, I'm never going to do that again, yet you're still doing it, like, you need help. Like, you can't do it on your own. And that's the very first thing. Like, somebody struggling with this issue needs to reach out to somebody that can help them, that knows what they need to do to be able to stop just trying to rely on willpower alone and get real help.
Okay, where can, or what does getting help mean? Like when you're just noticing like this might be an issue for me, I want to quit, but then maybe it's Sunday evening and you're doing it again.
Right. Yeah, I think if I could tell anybody, if I had only one thing that I could say, it's you need somebody that has been through it to give you perspective. Because when you are wrapped up in an addiction, it's really an addiction to escaping reality. So you're living in this fantasy world, this fantasy pleasure world, and your perspective has been completely distorted. And so you just simply cannot see what other people can see. And so to try to go through and rationally, logically make sense of what's going on with you, it's really not possible without external help and an external perspective, because you are totally screwed up. You're living in a different realm. So to have somebody that can come in there and help break the denial that you're in and break that old broken paradigm and help you install a new one, it's mission critical. Otherwise, you're not going to get anywhere.
Yeah, I can relate, because I have had this issue in the past as well. But I think if somebody is just getting started noticing, I have a problem, it might be pretty huge step to actually talk to someone. So,
right.
So what can people do before talking to someone, or should they directly start to find somebody to find help?
Yeah, I think the fastest way, like if somebody's really serious about overcoming it, it's just the fastest thing to do is to get help, because there's a lot you can do on your own, and we can absolutely talk about that. But the reality is that those narratives and the neural pathways and everything that plays a role in addiction are so strong that you can do good for a day, and then the next day you'll be doing really terrible. So these massive peaks and valleys, and to have somebody to help you through that and navigate that, I think is totally critical. There's plenty of people that get over it on their own, but my view of sobriety versus real recovery and transformation has completely transformed. A lot of people that are just quitting, they're not really recovering from their addiction. They're just white knuckling and forcing themselves to not act out, which then they often will go into some other form of addiction, whether it's television, gaming, or substances or whatever. But they're like, well, but I'm good. I'm not looking at porn anymore. But the behavior is not really changing.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I never really thought about that. So what do you do when you work with people one-on-one, or if you looking first, like, where can you find someone who might be able to help you, or who is qualified to do that, except you, of course?
Right. Yeah, and absolutely. That's kind of a challenging thing, is a lot of times you can go find a therapist that's local, right? But they might not have any experience dealing with addiction, let alone sexual addiction. And dealing with sexual addiction is tough, because it's like, okay, well, somebody can masturbate, somebody can view porn, somebody can use Snapchat to be sexting somebody. I mean, it's right at our fingertips all the time, and it's constantly displayed in front of us. So how do you get sober? How do you get clean and stay away from it? It's so challenging. And so you really need somebody that's experienced in that. There's a lot of therapists that can help a lot, but having specialized help is really important. And so our recommendation is to try to find someone who's called a CSAT, a certified sexual addiction therapist. So if there's somebody local that has that designation, they're a great person to go to, because my wife has gone through this training, and it's extremely intensive. You have to do a ton of work. You have to fly around the world four different times for week-long trainings, and it's intense. But then you have to have a ton of supervision, so expert training from somebody who's been doing it for a long time, that really knows their stuff and can really get in there. I mean, the amount of reading and resources that they have to go through and fully understand and grasp, it's incredible. But it's totally necessary. Like, you can't go into extremely complex addiction like this that has all kinds of different complex issues and wrapped with it, and expect to succeed or help somebody else succeed if you haven't done that research. So that's my biggest suggestion. Other than that, having support. There's 12-step groups. There's Sexaholics Anonymous. There's SA groups. A lot of different churches have different 12-step groups where you can just get integrated in a community where there are people that are further ahead than you in the process that can support you and give you insights, become a sponsor for you, an accountability partner, stuff like that, so that you're not doing it alone anymore. So that when your brain goes into crazy making and you can't figure out what's up from down, then you have somebody that's can say, hey, I've been there. I know what you're going through. Here's what you need to do. So that would be my biggest suggestion, is CSAT therapist and a 12-step support group for sure. Otherwise, working with us is of course an option, but depending on what financial situation and things like that somebody's in, there's definitely things you can do.
Yeah, I really like your approach. I remember when I was trying to at least watch porn less, or now I don't watch that anymore, like completely. And I did it completely on my own. And I used a lot of online resources like yourbrainonporn.com and the NoFap community on Reddit. So you're really, since this podcast is about technology, you recommend to really talk to somebody in person rather than joining an online community like that. Is that right?
Really, either way, because our community is all online. I mean, we actually communicate and speak with each other multiple times a week too. But technology is, you can use it for good rather than self-destruction, and that's really cool when you can start changing your brain pathways to use it as an aid to you rather than something that's an instant gratification and self-defeating practices. So technology is great if you're in a remote location and you don't have access to a group or to a therapist. That's why we do what we do, so we can really meet anyone where they are. But I think communities like that NoFap group, it's a great start. It's a great place for people to come out of the dark and to say, hey, I've got a problem, and to unite with other people. So, really it's finding what works for you. And I think that's a big part of the process is, especially people that have addictions, we get into this all or nothing mentality where we're either all in or we're all out. And if we make a mistake, it's all over. Like, oh, I slipped up, I made a mistake, I had a relapse or whatever, I looked at porn today. Even if it was for 1 second, it's like, it's all effed. It's over. I'm such a worthless piece of garbage. I'm such a failure. I might as well go and look at more porn, but avoiding that all or nothing thinking and letting it be an iterative discovery process where you test something, and if it works, then great. You do more of it. But if you test something, like somebody could, like yourself, could totally do great in a Reddit forum and yourbrainonporn.com. That's an awesome website. Great book, by the way. Highly recommend it. Someone might do fine with that. And another person, they might find that's not enough.
Yeah. And
that doesn't mean you're a failure or that you can't recover. It just means that you might need another piece that those things aren't offering. And that's okay. And you just haven't discovered yet what that is. So that's what I always say. You got to keep discovering and trying new things. And if you fail, it's perfect, because it teaches you what you need to do next.
Yeah, I just remember the book Willpower Instinct by Kelly McGonigal, and to actually increase your willpower, it's I think the chapter is called License to Sin. If we do, so if we take a misstep, then we give ourselves to engage even more in the destructive behavior, and the solution is actually to forgive ourselves. So that's what I was just reminded of.
Yeah, that's powerful. It's powerful. Like practicing loving kindness and compassion for ourselves and forgiveness. It really is the answer. But especially if you're an addict, like you're in such a pattern of not ever forgiving yourself that it's really hard to get there for a lot of people.
Are there any other steps at this point we need to let our audience know when they're just getting started and notice they have an addiction problem?
Sorry, say that again. Anything else to get them started?
Yeah, exactly. Like a
Got it.
talk. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing to remember is that you've been using the pornography as your primary coping skill. So when things get hard in life, you're turning to porn rather than turning to real solutions. Whereas the porn it numbs the pain temporarily. So sometimes people have this illusion of like, oh, it helps me work, or it helps me get to sleep, it helps me do this. Well, really, it's just numbing the pain. The pain is still there, but it's just numbing it so that you can function temporarily, or some people can't function at all after they view it. Depends on who you are. But then it just exacerbates the problem. Then the pain comes back and it hits you even harder because you haven't dealt with any of the pain. You're just blanket covering it. So then you need more porn. So I think recognizing that you need healthy coping skills.
Okay.
That if you've been using pornography ever since you were a young kid, chances are you probably didn't learn the coping skills that a lot of other people that didn't have an addiction learned, so that they can face reality and be productive without turning to something that's destructive. So there needs to be a focus on that. Like, how can I cope with pain and discomfort? So if you keep turning to porn, learning those other skills is completely critical.
Okay. And what's the best way to cope with the pain?
Sure. So there's a lot of ways. And again, it's an iterative process, right? So I can just share with you something that I do and something my clients do.
Yeah.
Is getting into consistent daily habits. So again, addicts have this all or nothing mentality. We want to have, for example, if somebody's religious or spiritual, they just want to have a mega powerful prayer session and get super filled with these good feelings and to dispel away all of the garbage. But then, because they're way up here, then they come crashing down here eventually. And it's not about those peaks and valleys. It's about getting a little gold nugget each day through consistent small habits. And so things like exercise. Instead of going to the gym for 2-3 hours, you go for 30 minutes and you just make those 30 minutes count. I have my clients journal their emotions every single day so that they can let them out. What am I feeling? Like getting them grounded in what's actually going on internally with them on a daily basis. So 10 minutes, just writing out, I feel like garbage. I feel anxious. I feel stressed. I feel insecure. I feel shame. I feel guilt, irritation, frustration, or the positive. Well, I shouldn't say positive or negative, but or the good feeling emotions, like I feel peaceful, I feel calm, relaxed, aware, serene, loving, things like that. So really understanding what's going on, because you'll find that, hey, if I'm in a really chaotic emotional state, chances are good that I'm probably going to relapse or I'm at risk. So I need to get myself in a better place. So just creating some real-time mindfulness. Another thing I have people do is a spiritual devotion, whether you're Christian or Buddhist, doesn't matter, something to connect you to something bigger than yourself, whether it's the universe or whether it's God or Buddha, I don't care, or yourself, doesn't matter, but something bigger than your little world. So that's just 3 things. And then also something I have people do is like daily accountability, like having somebody that they're reaching out to on a daily basis, reporting on how their day went, as another point of keeping them grounded. And to kind of close each day and start a new day and keep everything in kind of those day tight compartments. Like, okay, I don't need to worry about tomorrow. I don't need to worry about yesterday. I just need to worry about today.
Yeah, I really like how it always comes back to the fundamentals. Just do the stuff that's good for you and don't do the stuff that's bad for you. And I think especially with addiction, we have like our brain is actually wired and looking for this. And actually there's no way to unwire your brain. You just have to develop new pathways and develop new habits that replace the old ones.
Right.
So, and that's the hardest part. And that's why you never really recover from the addiction. It's always there because your brain, like the old parts, they are not used anymore, but
right.
they're still there. So that yes. I think makes it so difficult. Like even after, I don't know, for 1 or 2 years, you've been sober, so to speak, and then you relapse one time and then it reactivates, and that happens really, really fast.
Yes, and I compare that to, here in Minnesota, it snows a lot in the winter, right? So I compare that to, just imagine a path through the snow, and those neural pathways. It's like every time you watch the pornography, you're taking the snowblower and you're just plowing out that pathway and clearing the snow away. And the good ones, like the exercise, the self-care, all the good habits, maybe you've done that a little bit, but those paths are smaller and they've got these snow drifts blown over them. And because you're not using them very often, they're not getting plowed out very much. And so when you go to actually plow them out, it's really hard work because there's a ton of snow in there. And you just go, oh man, this is really hard. It's kind of cold over here. This is really uncomfortable. Look how much more work I still have to do to get this into place. I might as well just go use this porn path that's already been cleared a million times. It's just easier. But then once you stop, that's why I tell people, like, if you stop acting out, it's like that snow is drifting over that neural pathway of using pornography. And it's making it harder. It's covering it up more. And you want that snow to just pile up. So it gets more difficult for you to go down that path. But you do, when you relapse, it's like taking that snowblower and blowing it out and opening it up again. So it's always there. Like, even if you haven't looked at porn for a long time and you've done these things, that path is there. And you're absolutely, if you're not taking care of yourself and watching, you could go down that path again, especially with the constant exposure of sexual content in today's world. So I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, makes total sense. Great metaphor. Are there any tools we need to know about? That will help us. I know I used some tools in the past, and there are great tools out there.
Yeah, I know. A lot of times we go towards the technical stuff, like the computer filters, the stuff like that. And although I think that that's important, it's not everything, because of the accessibility of pornography, a filter is really just another barrier so that you have another conscious moment to be able to say, okay, is this really what I want to do? Because you can always get around any filter. Yeah, there's porn everywhere. So it's, but I think it's important. I think here's something really awesome, actually. This thing, the smartphone, is a deadly weapon when it comes to pornography addiction, right? It's constantly, we just have such easy access. Something I did is I took off all my apps. Yeah. Like literally all of them. The only things that I have on here are like, I have the standard apps that come with it, like your compass and voice memos and contacts and, calculator and weather and stuff. But I have the built-in iPhone calendar and the clock, and I can use it to call and text people and use maps. That's it. Because so many apps, you can open ads that will open a private web browser that will let you search for anything. This right here, whether you're looking at porn or not, this is a wiring nightmare fest for your brain. We are so addicted to this thing. And the best thing that you could do is take all your apps off of it and just access the internet through your computer. Take all the browsers off, turn it into a phone. Yeah. And you'll be amazed. It's going to be really uncomfortable if you do that for a while. But now it's like, I've released this attachment to my phone. I leave it around and don't ever hardly pick it up. And it's like miraculous. Like, seriously, the amount of brain space you get back not having this constant attachment to your phone. So, and that's the thing, is a lot of times, obviously pornography is wrapped up in technology. Yeah. So if you're constantly looking at your phone at Facebook and checking this, checking that, looking for that little dopamine hit through other things, through games and stuff like that, it's going to be a lot harder for you to recover from a pornography addiction, because they work on the same neural pathways.
Yeah, for sure. Like I do not have email, and I basically have the same app I or set up for my phone. I have an Android, and I just have Yeah, I block my browser. I just use like Google Maps and stuff like that, and then voice and yeah, even WhatsApp is sometimes a problem for me. So I only access
Right.
that through my computer, and on
Right.
on my computer I use my software actually with the same intention, just to get me more aware when I'm just browsing Facebook, maybe being in some group, but then I get this notification or something. So I only allow a certain amount of time, and or if I want to visit a website, I also need to type in a reminder like, do I really want to quit working on my blog right now or something like that, to
Right.
get like this moment of consciousness and not going into the habit.
Yes, and that's why, honestly, and maybe a little plug here. That's why what you've created is so awesome, because again, it's not about forcing you to not be able to access something, because you will always be able to. If you really want to find porn, you're gonna find it, right? So it's about getting you grounded and mindful of what you really want, and giving you another moment, another opportunity to make a decision.
Yeah.
And that's why your app is awesome, because it helps you do that. It's just a point of mindfulness, right?
Yeah.
But that's what the daily self-care stuff does. That's what the exercise does, the journaling, the devotional, checking in with an accountability partner. It helps you stay grounded so that you can make more choices, so that you're empowered to consciously choose rather than just automatically go down a neural pathway that you don't want to go down.
Yeah, totally. What is the right mindset for somebody who just gets started to improve their chance of successfully conquering the addiction?
The right mindset, honestly, the biggest thing would be to embrace the pain. That's really difficult, but when you start trying to change any kind of a behavior, it makes you really uncomfortable. And you will, like the moment you try, I mean, everybody's experienced this with like exercise and stuff, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh man, tomorrow I'm gonna freaking go to the gym. I'm done with this lazy crap. I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna gain a bunch of muscle. I'm gonna cut down my fat, and I'm gonna eat healthy and all this stuff. And then the alarm clock goes off in the morning, and it's like, we call it the narrative of the beast. It's like these thoughts come into your head. It's like, oh man, you're so tired. You should just stay in bed. You know what? You can just start tomorrow. You know what? You didn't sleep very good last night. Like, you had a bad dream. So you should probably just sleep for another hour, and you'll feel a whole lot better, and you'll get a lot more done. All these manipulative thoughts come into our head when we start trying to change behavior. And that's what's going to happen. Like the moment you try to stop looking at porn or stop masturbating compulsively all the time, like, you are immediately going to start having thoughts in your head trying to convince you to continue down that neural path. And you have to embrace the pain of that. And it's going to expose your insecurities. It's going to bring out the pain you've been numbing forever. And the only way to overcome that is to face it, is to lean into it, to embrace it, to grab hold of it, understand why you're in so much pain, and figure it out. And it could just be a biological thing, because you've trained yourself so much to do that. It doesn't always mean that you've had abuse or something in your past, although most sex addicts have. It could just be that it's just how your brain wants to go. You have to have compassion and learn self-love for yourself in order to soothe down that urge and that compulsion. So embrace the pain. That's the mindset you got to be in. Otherwise, you're not gonna make it.
Yeah. Is there anything I haven't asked you about overcoming this addiction that you'd like to share with our audience?
Yeah, I think I've talked about this a lot before, that it's not about a moral battle. I mean, personally, myself, morally, I don't think pornography is a good thing. I mean, there's a lot of stuff or research showing that it's totally feeding human trafficking and sex trafficking. And, 20% of pornography is with sex trafficked girls, which they're sex slaves. I mean, it's absolutely horrible. So if you're looking at porn, you've absolutely seen people that are sex slaves, which is quite disturbing to me. So morally, I don't agree with it. However, this is more about you as a person, as an individual, and what do you really want in life? Like, do you want to squander your life and your time by just seeking this constant artificial pleasure, or do you actually want to win in life and find true fulfillment and happiness and strength and creativity and self-mastery? That feels way better than a temporary orgasm to a screen.
Yeah.
You know, it's way better. It takes longer and it's harder work, right? I mean, looking at porn is easy. You just pull out your phone whenever you want, and escape from reality. But when you embrace reality and really truly change it to what you want, it's absolutely incredible. The whole world changes. You see everything different. Everything becomes brighter, and you feel more alive. So that's what it's about for me. It's about true fulfillment and happiness, and that's what I hope through our mission, that we can help other people see that too. It's not about just not looking at porn because people think it's icky. It's you really achieving your full capacity as a human and finding tons of happiness along the way.
Yeah. Is there any one particular story or a case study or an example that really sums up what we've been talking about, or what you've been talking about here?
Yeah, there's quite a few actually, but I think, it's interesting. There's one couple that I actually want to share about. He came in, they both came into our program, and at first thought it was just an addiction to pornography. He had been caught looking at porn by his wife, and he got on the call, or he called me like frantic, thinking his relationship was over, but they actually signed up for our program. And then that night she found that he had visited with multiple prostitutes as well on top of it all. So as you can imagine, that's horrible betrayal in a relationship, and the pain, and not just the emotional pain of betrayal, but, actual potential exposure to health issues, STDs and stuff like that with doing that. It's been an interesting journey with them, because he's been sober for over a year. So he hasn't acted out looking at pornography or acting out sexually in any way for over a year, which is incredible. But it's interesting because now we're working on a completely separate issue, which is issues with intimacy. So a fear of intimacy in the relationship. But the reason why I share this example is because oftentimes there's real, powerful, deep issues that are keeping us from having fulfillment with our spouse and with ourselves. But this sexually acting out behavior is in the way so much that we can't get to those issues. So are they still experiencing a lot of pain right now and working through a lot of stuff? Yeah, absolutely. It's been a long journey for them. But I mean, in comparison to just over a year, that's pretty amazing to be able to get over a lot of these things. But now the reason why I say that is because now that the sexual addiction is out of the way, so to speak, because he's got his self-care in place and he's not acting out, we can get to some other major core issues that are getting in the way of their relationship. And if we didn't get this out of the way, there's no way we'd be here where we are right now working on these things. So that's pretty cool. When you look at that, it's like now there's hope for incredible transformation, because the main block has been uprooted and we can get to some other things. So it's kind of cool, because we're not just helping people overcome porn. It's let's get over the porn and let's get to what's next.
Okay.
Yeah.
What final thoughts do you have to motivate someone to get started right now?
I think you just need to ask yourself what you want. What do I want? And, a lot of times we have the thought that comes in when we say what we want, then when you watch for that frickin' evil thought that comes in and says, well, you don't deserve that. You can't have that, or you're not good enough for that. That manipulative voice is going to pop in when you start to say what you want, because that's not who you believe you are. So ask yourself what you want, truly, sincerely. Ignore those other voices that come in and get to the core of what you actually want. Just be honest with yourself. Tell yourself the truth and say, is this behavior getting me to that place, or is it taking me away from it? And then just be willing to do whatever you need to do to change that behavior. Like, sacrifice the ego, put it on the chopping block, and get help so that you can really actually have what you want in your life, because it's totally possible.
Yeah, I really, really love that for the end of this episode. And I think it's so much easier when you know where you're going to correct your course. Otherwise, the world will tell you what to do. And there's so much conflicting advice on what you could do, what healthy means, what kind of behavior is accepted. But if you come up with this stuff for yourself, then you actually can find a way to reach your goal. And otherwise, you will just be like, I think Seneca said that then you're just like a ship in a storm, just being pushed around by the waves. And it feels like you've taken a long journey, but maybe you've just been in a circle and end up stranded somewhere or something like that.
Right.
So,
right, exactly.
Yeah, thanks for the interview. And can you tell us where can people find out more about you and what you do?
Yeah, sure thing. So you can find me on Facebook, of course, Hunter Otis. You can find us on our website, becomingpornfree.com. There's or email us at support@becomingpornfree.com. And I would respond to that personally. There's also a phone number. So if you're needing help right now, there's a phone number on the website. You can just call me. Literally, just give me a call and we can chat and see if what we have to offer is the right fit for you. Otherwise, I can at least get you pointed in the right direction for sure.
So. Okay, awesome. Thank you, Anta, for the interview.
Yeah, no problem. It's great chatting with you.
Okay, bye.
See ya.